Like, is this some sort of reverse psychology or what? Yeah, I don't know if you were at the park service, and this is actually not in my notes because actually I wrote this the week before the park service. So, like, if you were at the park service, you saw Pastor Pete come in with a sling on. And he was in quite a bit of pain when he came up to me that morning. Peter, do you feel like coming and sharing briefly about it? Or should I just give her a go?
Unless you've experienced it personally, it's hard to explain for somebody else. It really is. I've watched healing many times. I've prayed with people and I've watched them be healed. I have no doubts about what the Lord tells us. None in the Bible. So I'm never really surprised. But for the first time in a very long time, I was dumbfounded and overwhelmed. And that doesn't happen to me very often because I'm always amazed at what the Lord can do. Saturday night before the service in the park, I was working out. I just finished doing like 200 pushes, 10 o'clock at night. My wife's reading a book in the bedroom, and it's a good time for me to exercise. So I just finished doing a whole bunch of push-ups, and I'm lost weight, so I felt really light. And I figured, I haven't tried a chin-up since I was like 300 pounds, which was really hard to get off the ground. I had to use a chair and everything to do it. So I put up a chin-up bar. When I was using the chin-up bar, I gathered, these are like Mickey Mouse chin-up bars. So I was pulling myself up on the chin-up, and it was easy. Like I said, I gained strength and I'd lost weight. And I was doing these chin-ups. And on my third chin-up, I decided to curl my legs up in the air at the same time as I was pulling myself up. And I was about this high up in the air, and it gave way. And I was completely upside down, and I went straight down to the ground. I've hurt myself a lot in my life. I have screws, I have lots of injuries. I've worked heavy labor my whole life. I know pain and I know injury, and I know when I've done something. When I hit the ground, my wife was in bed. She heard the whole thing. I hit hardwood floor straight on. I dislocated my shoulder. I've never dislocated my shoulder. I could feel it. I jarred it right out, and it went right back in. My upper back, and I smashed my head off the ground, and my tailbone and my foot, and I'm still lying on the ground in agony, and I can deal with a lot of pain. I knew I possibly had a broken foot. I knew that I dislocated my shoulder, not sure if it was broken. My tailbone, I may have cracked a disc or two. And I know these things, and I'm not allowed to lie or exaggerate. And so I'm still on the ground for a long period of time. Finally, I get up, and some things aren't moving. My wife, Tinica, wants to take me to the hospital, and I said, why don't we just see what happens? Because I know sometimes you hurt yourself so much, and the pain is so severe, because this was severe, that you wait it out a little while to see if it's still severe later. 2.5 hours later, I had taken painkillers. I never take painkillers. I come from the world of stuff. I don't want painkillers. I don't want to feel them. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to touch them. I don't want to be anywhere near them. I took 2 T3s and a bunch of Aleve, and it barely subsided. It knocked me out so I could go to sleep. Horrible night's sleep. Woke up in the morning, couldn't move my shoulder. I couldn't move it when I went to bed. I could only sleep on my back, and I don't like sleeping on my back. We snore if we sleep on our backs. I couldn't get out of bed. My wife had to help me get out of bed. I have a water bed, but still she had to help me to get out of bed. And we had the church service in the park. And the pastors had asked if I would do prayer at the park in our community. And for me, that's huge, because I come from an obscure ministry, as you know. So for me, I couldn't miss this. I couldn't call up anybody and say, I'm not coming. So my wife wanted to take me to the hospital because I got broken stuff. I can barely move. And I'm not just sore. Like, I'm a fairly physically active fella. I was broken up bad. And so I promised her I would hobble down there, and I couldn't even sit. And I would go to the hospital immediately after and get x-rays and get what I needed to find out how much I'd broken up in my body. And I went down to the service, and everyone's coming up to me, Pastor Callum Jones, others, and they're praying for me, and people in cars are praying for me, and I'm going, okay, I got to get through this, and I came knowing there's Christians around, and the Lord's going to be there, and prayer will help. And Sylvia came to tell me about, and her group, about a lady, Christine, I think her name is, yes, who is in a wheelchair and isn't able to get up out of the wheelchair. And she told me, would I be able to testimony? I don't know how the pastors are going to feel if I haul somebody up when I'm supposed to be doing the service. So I said, oh, okay, and then I'll find out if I can. And then Sylvia looked at me and the others and said, what'd you do to yourself? Because I'm standing here with this sling on and my shoulder's killing me, and I just want to get out of there and go to the hospital. I really do. And so they offered prayer. And of course, I would never say no to prayer. Never. And so they put their hands on me and started to pray. Within seconds, I could feel the exact spots where everything was lifting off me. I could feel it. And then they asked if they could pray some more because it wasn't done. And they asked me my pain level, and I said like a 7 or something like that. And my wife says, like others said, it's probably like a 12 to most people. So out of 10. And they prayed again. And all I could feel was the Holy Spirit, period. All I could feel was God all over me. And that's a freaky feeling because you disappear. I literally disappeared. I just couldn't feel, I couldn't think, I couldn't function, I couldn't do nothing. The Lord was all over me. And it was gone. Everything I felt was gone. And I yanked off my sling, which nobody asked me to, and I put my arm, I couldn't raise my arm. I could raise nothing, like nothing. I lift my leg, like nothing. I did a little dance. Nothing. And then I started to cry. I had to leave. I apologize to the people who stepped up and put their hands on me, but God was all over me. I had to get out of there. So I went off to a corner and just let him do whatever he wanted to do. But it was gone. I've climbed the mountains 3 times since then on the biggest hikes I've ever done. And I don't hike. I climb straight up cliffs. I climb straight up mountains. I bang and bash myself. And I am strong and I am healthy and it's wonderful. And I have no idea what it means, but it doesn't matter because the Lord will use it whichever way he wants to. And that's healing.
And that's healing.
Yes.
And I can testify to it because I was standing about here and they were just right over here and I was just going, okay, Lord, hit him. Hit him good. And it was awesome. So is God healed today? Of course he does.